everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Get Into Yoruba podcast. It is me, your host, Lade Odunubi, back again with you today. However, today I have our one of our wonderful tutors who you will get to know more as the episodes kind of go on and on and on, and you will get familiar with his voice and everything. His name is Seun, and I will just let him introduce himself so that you can just know a little bit more about him. Hi, Seun.
Hi, Ladi. Hello, listeners. Hello, my name is Seun Joseph, and I am a Nigerian and a Yoruba man, and I am a Yoruba tutor. I've been teaching Yoruba for about 5 years now, and it's a passion for me just teaching Yoruba. Um, I am a community tutor because my interactions majorly has been with the community, and that has been much of my learning. I teach Yoruba online to foreign students, so say Americans or people in the UK, Nigerians in diaspora. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thanks, Sean. That's really interesting and helpful to know. Also met Sean through taking Yoruba language lessons myself. So that's how we got connected, and here we are today. Um, Before we kind of dive into the episode, so for everybody listening, in this episode, we will be talking about alphabets and tones, laying the foundations for just like, the building blocks for the Yoruba language and learning Yoruba. But before we dive into that, I want to just ask Sean so you guys can know a bit more about his thoughts. I want to ask Sean, um, why do you think it's important for people in the diaspora, people within Nigeria, just people in general, to learn Yoruba language?
All right. Thank you for having me again, Ade. Yes, it's always exciting to get to share about my language in this way. Um, so yeah, why do I think it's important? Okay, before I even speak on that, I would just like to give a bit more about or yes, about how I got here teaching Yoruba. So it began with just one of my friends, one of my Black American friends, and she was dating a Nigerian, and she loves listening to Wizkid, which I think a lot of people listen to Afrobeat, and she wanted to know the meaning of some lyrics in the song, and I mean, it was just on her WhatsApp status, and then I just responded to it. Oh, this is a Wizkid classic. She wrote the Yoruba words there, and she was like, "Oh, what does it mean?" And I told her what it means, and of course, the rest is history. So, um, and then as I continued to teach that way, then I came across a platform where I could just put on my profile and as a Yoruba tutor and what I've been doing, and I was approved. So since then, I've just been meeting more foreigners who want to learn Yoruba or Nigerians in diaspora. So that's kind of been my journey. So and then now talking about why I think learning Yoruba is important. I think two things. Two things is first is identity, and the second is history. So, starting with identity, I believe that, or is even what it is, right? Everywhere you go in the world, maybe Italy, maybe Belgium, there's a unique language for each group of people, each set of people, each tribe, and that language gets to stand them out. It helps them to own their identity, right? There are some phrases, there are some should I say wisdoms or anecdotes that are in those particular languages that are not present in any other language, and it stands and serves as identity for those people, right? There's a certain way that French people think that is not in occurrence in any language. So that is um a thing. If you're learning Yoruba is an identity really that you're learning, and particularly if you're in the diaspora, right? You already know a certain language, right, which you communicate is most likely maybe English or French or whatever it is, right? But knowing that your own tone, your own language, it opens up another part of your personality that you're not aware of, right? Because there are a lot of ideas that will be portrayed in Yoruba that you will not be able to get in English or in any other language, right? Not because of the limitation of any language, but just because of the uniqueness of every single language. So identity, and then the next is history, of course. So learning Yoruba will definitely take you down history lane. You want to know what happened. Like I said, some of my Yoruba students are white. Actually, a majority of them are white, and they learn for different things. Some of them are from the Caribbeans, um, around America, and I mean, there's just been a lot of the transatlantic slave trade happened in and around all those places. So like, there's just been a lot, right? So there's a lot of history around it, around how it came to be and stuff. And I guess we'll learn even a bit of some of them today as we discuss. So identity and history they are key to learning. Their advantages in you learning your language.
I could not agree more. Thank you so much, Sharon. That's really insightful. And I mean, to anybody listening, if you have any of your reasons or your thoughts as to why it's important to learn your language, feel free to comment or just, reach out and let us know. That would be great as well. Now we will jump right into the nitty gritty of the lesson. As I mentioned earlier, in today's lesson, we are going to be talking about alphabets and tones in the Yoruba language. Sharon will be taking us through just a whistle stop tour so that we can get a general overview and a general insight into this topic. Over to you, Sharon.
All right, all right. Like someone said to me yesterday, how much time do you have? So exactly that really is the foundation of any modern language today, or any language that is going to um, pass the test of time, that's been written, been or the alphabets that build it up majorly. Like you've rightly guessed or said, is Yoruba is a tonal language, right? And that implies that the meaning of words are really dependent on the tones that they are carried out in. Uh, there are a couple of content creators on Instagram that do a lot of wordplay, because wordplay is something that is very popular in Yoruba, because you can say the same word but with different tones and it means different things. Like how time in Yoruba is igba, right? Right. But calabash in Yoruba is igba, right?
Right. And for those that don't know what a calabash is, it is is like a wooden cup. Is it a bowl? What do you call it? Like a wooden bowl, sort of. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a wooden bowl, yes, but that
Yeah.
has a similar cover as well. Of course,
Yeah.
you can get to make a research if you just Google it up. You see a
Yeah.
picture pop up, right?
Exactly.
And so see how the word period and or time, right, and calabash has the same word. In fact, 200, as in the number 200 in Yoruba, is igba,
Oh
igba.
wow.
So like
So repeat the three again. Time
so
is
igba, do,
Igba.
all right, and
Uh-huh.
then calabash is igba, remi,
Igba.
yes,
Okay.
and then 200 is igba, rere.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
This getting to the heart of the tones is very important, clearly.
actually, so yes, so I mean that Yoruba is just tonal, right? That's the point there. And there are three basic tones in Yoruba. The three basic tones, right, that every other word in Yoruba is built on, and that's the low tone, the mid tone, and the high tone, right? The low tone is usually denoted with a grave accent on the vowels in a word, and it is usually sounded as
Do.
do. Yeah, it's some people have acclaimed that Yoruba is like singing. So yeah, do. That's why I say time igba is do, is built on that tones. Then the mid tone is re,
Re.
re, yeah. in a manner of speaking, that's almost like how um, many other languages are spoken. Say English, for example, right? It's like a flat tone, right? There's no having to. Yeah, there's sometimes you raise your pitch in some parts of it, but the majority of the speaking is usually just on that flat plane. And then the I tone is me.
Me.
Me, yes. For the re, there is no accent mark on the vowels because it's the vowels that take the accent marks to show the tone in that word. But for me, there's an acute accent mark that's falling to the right on it. But for do, it's a grave accent mark and it's falling to the left. So yes, those three tones are literally what every word is built on. So that's why when I say igba, igba uh, or Igba. When I say those three different words, there are different tones that build them up, even though they are the same letter combination. So that's a very important lesson in learning Yoruba. So, um, interestingly enough, there is an entire musical instrument that is built around this. Did you know that?
I do. I
Oh,
do.
okay, okay,
Because you've told me before. That's the
okay.
only reason I know. I wouldn't have known otherwise.
I mean, but that's great that you know, and for the advantage of our listeners, the musical instrument is the talking drum. Yes, the Yoruba talking drum. It's some Yoruba people, we call it gongon, gongon, right? And that's like the most general name. So the Yoruba talking drum is a drum that is used to appraise kings actually, and because the drum can make the sound, it can make the that do re mi accent sound, so you can get to replicate any word really. It just depends on how skilled the drummer is, that you can get to replicate any word that we can say. Just as we say igba, you can do that on the drum. Igba, you can do that on the drum. Igba, you can do that on the drum as well. So that's something interesting. So you can just also, so that's second assignment. You're checking for calabash now. You're checking for talking drum or gong gong majorly.
Exactly. Exactly. Well,
So
that's really helpful, Shale. I mean, I don't know what you were going to say next. I just cut you off. Sorry.
no,
But
no cons.
let's it so the do re mi tones, which are kind of the, like you said, the foundations of like how the different words are built. It would be
Mm-hmm.
helpful, I think, just to do a couple of examples so that they can see exactly how these tones translate into words. So I know that we've done. I don't even want to try to do those three igbas or however, but
Mm.
yeah, let's do some examples so people can kind of see like maybe words that are common enough to people or people may have heard in daily conversation, and then you can maybe highlight what tones are in those words. I think that might be helpful for people to just like have an ear to listen out.
All right. Yeah. There's something you can do. I mean, when you mentioned a word that is when you mention a word that is common, um, what jumps to my mind is money. What jumps to my mind is money. Right. And yes, money also has something similar, right? In that terms. So the word for money is owo.
Oh, whoa.
Yes, owo. Right. Now, um, that word now has the word for business is closely related to it. So for Owo, what we are going to be doing for every of this word we're going to be saying, we're going to be establishing the we're going to be establishing the tones underneath them. So Owo is Remi.
Remy. Oh, whoa.
Yes. Remi.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's we are traveling from the mid tone to high tone. So
Okay.
Remi,
Oh,
right?
whoa.
Yes.
Mm.
Now, for this next word, which means business, you're traveling from the mid tone to the low tone, right?
Mm.
The word sounds oh, actually, it's low tone, low tone.
Oh, whoa.
Yes. So that's do, do.
Do do. Oh, whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
So can I try to say
Okay.
business and money now? So Remy Dodo.
Owo, that's business.
Mm-hmm.
And owo, that's money.
Good, good, very good, very good, very good. So you see that difference there. Owo, owo, right? It's different.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
Another word. I think another word is um and the word for and. Yes. So the word
And
for and, yes, is it sounds like the word for money, but it's just because the letters are different. Because money is
okay.
O, but this is O. So this
Okay.
is Owo.
Owo.
Yes, Owo. Remi as well.
Mm,
You see now, and
okay.
then the word for honor, honor or dignity, um,
Mm,
is the same O, but now it is Dodo. Can you try to say it?
owo.
Nice,
Is that
nice,
right?
nice. Actually, spot on, spot on. Yeah. So, Owo, Owo, right? Owo, Dudu, and then Owo, which is and, right? Of
Mm.
course, this very
So,
next word. Yeah.
so essentially, I think all of what this is highlighting is like how much understanding the tones can help you. So earlier in the episode, Sean was describing what each of the tones look like. Of course, this is a podcast, so we cannot give you pictures, but please do, Google the tones and you'll see the different accents on the that denote each tone, because that's what's going to help you. If you see a word written down, you'll have an idea how to pronounce it just based on the tones. And it's really interesting to know that all of the tones are on those do re mi building blocks. And like Sharon has described here, it is crucial because if you don't understand the tones, you will completely misunderstand what people are saying to you all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is important that way, right? I was going to give one more word, which has
Ooh,
been.
please do.
I was going to give one more. Yeah, it has been an internet sensation, right? Because at some point in time, they could they could get up to like eight variations of the same word, but meaning different things. Like it's very interesting. Okay, so the word is OGUN. I don't want to pronounce it.
Ogun.
Yes,
Ogun. Like the state?
exactly. Oh, okay, that's one variation of it, right?
Okay, there's a
So
state in Nigeria that's Ogun State.
So
Yeah,
Ogun State. So that's Dodo Ogun. Yes.
Ogun. Odo.
Yeah. Um. But there's now a for property, right? For property, the word is Remi. How would that sound?
Ogun.
Exactly. Ogun.
Oh
Ogun.
wow. Yeah,
Yes.
Ogun.
So that's property. Interesting enough,
Wow.
that's the same word for 20. The exact same word, the same tones. Right. So that one is
Also
a bit.
Remy.
Yes, Remy. Also Remy.
So
So
Ogun is also 20.
yes, the number
Ogun
20.
is 20 and Ogun is property.
Yes.
So with those, so with those words, you'd have to just know the context of the conversation, right?
Entirely. You just have to know the context of the conversation there. Right? Then another is the word for war, as in a breakdown of battle, war.
Okay.
Um is
War.
re.
Ogun.
Nice, nice, nice. Yes, you seem to have
Yay.
like a very good ear to. You seem to have a very good ear to be able to tell. Yeah, so Ogun, that's war. That's how we say
War.
war. There's also the word for sweat. Sweat. Um,
Sweat.
yes, although the O in that one is a bit extended, so it sounds Ogun.
Ogun.
Yes, so that's almost three tones. It's like
Okay.
do mi do.
Ogun.
Yes,
Wow.
Ogun. So that's sweat. Yes.
Wow. a lot. That's a lot of differences and a lot to I guess over time, the more you see the words, the more you say the words, the more you practice the words and the vocabulary,
Mm-hmm.
you will just like get them better and remember better. So the vocab that we've covered so far, we've learned uh,
Igba.
owo, which is money,
Mm-hmm.
owo, which is hand,
Mm-hmm.
owo. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Business.
correct. Dodo. Yeah.
And there was something else that I can't remember.
Owo.
Owo, which is
Yes.
which
Business.
is Owo, which is business, exactly.
Yes. Yes.
And then we learned Ogun, which is like Ogun State.
Yes.
We learned
Ogun,
property,
which is war.
Ogun. Say that. Say war
Yes.
again, please.
Ogun Rere.
Ogun, which is
Yes.
war,
Mm-hmm.
and 20 uh, is also Ogun.
20 is Remi. It's the same word for
Ogun.
property. Yes.
Okay.
So Ogun. So Ogun, which is what is Rere. Ogun
Okay.
State, for example, that you said, can you guess the tones that are there?
Ah. Now see, doing it backwards, that's I struggle with that. Tell me,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
tell me, 'cause I
So
honestly tell me.
so that's Dodo. It's low
Ogun.
tone.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes. And
Okay.
interesting enough, that's also the same word, just like we had property and 20 sharing the same word. Ogun, the state, is also the word for medicine or charm.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a multi the word is doing a lot. It's a multi-purpose word.
it is a multi-purpose word. And like I said, it has even many more variations.
Wow.
Like up to like uh over 10, right?
Wow.
Like I said, it's an internet sensation. So if you Google it up, you probably find yourself on a Facebook page where a lot of people are dropping a lot of comments on that, right? So it just
Wow.
shows how much tones are pretty prominent in Yoruba. And like you said, it is with practicing it. Um because if like even if you're taught these things, even native speakers, right? Maybe this would uh clear the room a bit, but even with native speakers, we get to mix up these things, right?
Mm,
Because we
okay.
are like the other day where I was mentioning something about like imagine my mom telling me to go and bring the our business money, right? Probably because I know where she kept it. She should probably say, Seun bá mi lọ mú owó mi wá.
Mm,
So saying owowo, so owowo is there's a lot of wordplay there. So sometimes we get to mix up the tonal sounds, right? Even as native speakers.
mm,
So right,
mm.
but with practice, right? That's kind of the only thing that can get you to just at that level where you're able to
Yeah,
tell the tones differently.
absolutely. How about if you break down that sentence for the listeners? Ejo eba mi mu owo mi wa.
Yeah. So how I say it is Seun jọ̀ọ́ bá mi mú owó òwò mi wá. So Seun, of course, is calling my name. So she will not typically say Ejo, right? Because
Okay, because
Ejo
you're her
is
son.
yes, is formal. So she'll say
Mm,
Jo, right? Which is please. Bami, Bami is help me. Bami. So Bamimu, help me bring in this context, but it kind of like means speak. So Bamimu Owo, which is money, Owo, business, me. So Owo me is my money, Owo me is my business. So
wow.
Owo me is my 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 business's money.
Okay.
Yeah, so owo
Okay.
me wa is to come. So it's like saying go and pick my business's money and come, sort of,
Mm,
right?
mm.
So it's usually funny when you try to translate Yoruba directly in English
Yeah.
because it breaks it down and you get to laugh because the ideas are different.
But do you know the thing I will say though is I feel like the the ideas are different, but you when you translate it, when you break it down, you kind of see how the building blocks fit together, right? You see how the sentence makes sense. And I think that's one of the good things about how Yoruba works. You can kind of, it kind of makes sense. So many other languages, you're just kind of like, why would you say it that way? But this kind of makes sense. So that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. And I think I would definitely say to the listeners, with the vocab that we've picked up today, make a note of it, listen back, practice the vocab, and yeah, Google the things that we asked you to Google. And yeah, let's, I hope you've learned about the tones. And like Shayon said, you must practice. Don't think that you're going to listen to this one episode and be like a genius
Mm-hmm.
and perfect. You will
Mm-hmm.
actually need to practice. You will actually need to listen more to more things. And then, yeah, you'll get it eventually. So thanks so much, Shayon. And then, so those are the tones. Now let's move on to the alphabets, which I think also incorporates the tones.
Yes, yes, definitely. Of course, the tones are built on the alphabets, right? Of course, the tones are like pretty determining in terms of how it sounds. That's why we spoke a bit on it. Yes, but for the alphabet, Yoruba alphabet, and there's a bit of history here, just very little history. Yoruba has been unwritten for long, right? So it has been the oral tradition, just stories dropping from stories. That's what it has always been. However, um, at the point in time in the should I say late 18th century or probably before it became late, it's so the slave trade was going on, and then one of the spoils of the slave trade was a Yoruba boy, right? Which who we eventually came to know as Bishop Ajayi Crowther, right? Very important guy in Yoruba typography history. So he was taken, yes, on in slavery, into slavery. So but eventually he got his education, and then he became part of the missionary team that came back to Africa, right? The Anglican missionary team. So he was a bishop, and he was now also on that mission of kind of getting the message to the locals. And of course, what better way to do than to put it in their language? And who better to lead that project than somebody who is Yoruba himself? So that was kind of what led to having to create the Yoruba alphabet, because the Bible was going to be translated, and then um, so the Yoruba alphabet was actually coined out of the existing Latin alphabet that we have. So that's kind of now implied, because that's the same foundation that the English alphabet has. So there are a lot of
Mm,
similarities with English alphabet and Yoruba alphabet, right? But the first and obvious difference I always see is, I say to all my students, because it looks exactly like what you have in English, but the first difference is that they sound very different.
mm,
They sound very different. I can tell you this, that there's only one letter that sounds exactly the same as in English and as in Yoruba. Right. Let me say that I ahead so that like you put your mind. So there's only one letter, and that letter is letter O.
oh,
Yes, just O. Just O. Yes. So that's the only letter so that you can carry along. But for the rest of them, you're going to be having to recoil your vocabulary. So English alphabet has 26 letters, but the Yoruba alphabet has 25, right? So there were some about five letters: C, Q, V, X. Yes, C, Q, V, and X. I think there's also one letter that is not in the Yoruba alphabet. That is not in the Yoruba alphabet, and then
mm,
we have letters. There are four letters that are included. There are five letters that are taken out of the English alphabet, and there are four letters that are included. So we have the dotted E, dotted O, dotted S, and then we have the letter that is like two letters together, which is G and B. So it sounds B, B.
B.
Yes, it sounds like you're throwing off like heavy load on the floor. I always use that sound. Yes. So those are the four extra letters, right? So like I said, just 25 letters that Yoruba has. So I think what we can do now is we just break it down since there's 25. So I'll just read the first five and then you read them along and then we just continue like that. All
Absolutely.
right.
And for the listeners, it might be helpful if you now, later, or whatever, just go and look for just a picture or a thing of the Yoruba alphabet so you can see what they look like. Because as we go through them now, it might be helpful for you to kind of identify the letters with the sounds that you're hearing. Yeah, just a note.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go,
Yeah.
Shell.
That would be helpful. All right. So the first five letters of in Yoruba are A, B, D, A, E. Can you try that?
A, B, D, A, E.
Nice, nice.
And
So
about the A and the E, those are both those both look like letter E's, right?
yes, they both look like letter E, but the last one is dotted.
Okay. So when Sheon says the last one is dotted, that means that if you're imagining there's a letter E and it has a little dot underneath it, like underneath its tail. So when you see, if you're looking at a Yoruba word written down and you see the E with a little dot, that means that it's not A, which is just a regular E. For if you're an English speaker, this will connect for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, and then the next five we have is Fi, Gi, B, E, E. Can you try it?
Fi, gi, bi, e, e.
Nice. Now to, of course, clarify the very obvious question here, which is like, why does E and E sound similar? Because that's H and I. So similar, like in the way H is silent in English. But for Yoruba, in a way of saying, we have the H accent. Right? So our H is actually prominent in some sort of way. So it has like this invisible job it does. Let me say it like that. So that's why it's like that. So the H and the I really look like or they sound like each other, right? But they have different use cases and then in itself, without having to add tonal marks, their pitches are different as well.
Interesting. Okay, so fi, gi, bi,
Hmm.
e, e.
Yes, yes. All right, and then the next we have is G, Ki, Li, Mi, Ni.
G, ki, li, mi, ni.
All right, so the what sounds like G is what looks like J in English. Very interestingly. And then Mi and Ni are special letters because they are nasal consonants. Right?
Mm,
They act like they are vowels. So sometimes those are the only two consonants that can take marks sometimes in
okay,
words. Right? Not every word, but there's some words that they take marks. And then we have um, O, O, Pi, Ri, Si.
okay. O, o, bi, re, si,
Yeah, so it's Ri.
re. Oh, re.
Yes, Ri.
Oh. Okay, listeners, let's go again. O, O, B, re, C.
Nice, nice, nice. So of course the O and O are, they both look like what we have in English. O. So like I said, O is the only thing that sounds like what it is in English. And O is when it has a little dot under it. Right. So these are two different letters. Then the P, of course, is different from regular P in English. Then Re and then C. C is our S. Really. Yes, really just that. And then
Mm,
the final five, you're doing great by the way. Yes, you're doing great.
thank you.
So the final five we have is she, ti, u, we, yi.
Okay. She, ti, u, we, yi.
Yeah, I mean, now reading this last letter now made me remember that the last letter or the fifth letter that is not included in the Yoruba alphabet is Z. So C, Q,
Z.
V, X, and Z. C, Q, V,
Okay.
X, and Z are not included. Yeah, so of course, she is just the uh, Yoruba version dotted S with a dot underneath it as well.
Mm,
So it's the only consonant that has a dot, and it's just sh. That's how it sounds, right? As compared to C, and then
mm.
T, U, we. U is the last vowel, and then Yi, of course, is Y. So those are the 25 letters.
Amazing. Okay, let's go through them from the top.
All
Let's
right.
do it one time through for the listeners. So if you're listening and you've been listening this whole time, say it along with me at least. Sharon's the expert, so say along with me as the amateur.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll read through first, then you read through. Now,
Okay.
so A, B, D, A, E, F, G, B, E, G, K, L, M, N, O, P, R, S, Sh, T, U, W, Y. All right.
Woo! Okay, our turn. A, B, D, E, E, F, G, B, E, E, G, K, L, M, N, O, R, P, R, C, She, T, U, We, Yi.
Yay, that's nice. Very, very good. Very, very good.
Yay!
Yes, yeah, yeah, you're about champ now.
Thank you.
So very, very crucial in this Yoruba alphabet is now the vowels. It's very
Mm,
important that you remember the Yoruba vowels because they occur in every word, right?
mm.
One vowel or the other occurs in every word, so it's usually good to know it. So the Yoruba vowels, there are seven vowels in Yoruba. Again,
Okay.
because of the origin, the Yoruba vowels look similar to what we have in English, right? Just with the addition of two, of course. A, E, I, O, U, like is in English, but now with the
Mm,
addition of dotted E and dotted O.
okay.
That's yes, that's what makes it. Now, while we have like regular vowels, we still have something called nasal vowels in Yoruba, right? But of course, it is regular vowels that are more prominent. But the nasal vowels are five, right?
And what makes nasal vowels, or like what's their purpose?
So their purpose is the fact that so there is a thing where no Yoruba word, this is a rule again, no Yoruba word ends with a consonant. It usually ends with a vowel.
Okay.
However, because of the exception that I've made for me and ni, so ni
Okay.
ends the word most times. So those nasal vowels are literally just a, E, I, O, U, but with each of them ending with an N. So A N, E N, I N, O
Okay.
N, and U N. Remember,
Okay.
note
Okay.
that the dotted ones are not there.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
those are just five, right? So in speaking, they are not prominent, right? But they have like their own sound. So um first of all, if I'm going to read the nasal vowels, right? Of course they sound funny because they are nasal. So it is e, I, o, u,
Okay. Say it again, please.
a, I, o,
Interesting. I didn't actually want to repeat that.
That's fine. We
You
are going to
understand?
repeat the regular vowels, right? So now of course in speaking they don't sound like that, but then their prominence comes. For example, the largest city in West Africa is in Oyo State, and that's Ibadan. Right. So
Ibadan.
Ibadan actually ends with an
A
an. Yes.
Ibadan.
So
Okay.
that's this
Oh,
thing. Um Even
okay.
the word for gun in Yoruba is ibon. Ibon.
Ibon.
Yes.
Ibon.
Yes. So is that
How would you spell it?
that would be IBON.
Okay, Ibon.
Yes. So is there's just those little variants. Or the word for elephant is erin.
Earring. How do you spell
Yes.
that?
That would be ERIN.
Okay.
Erin. So
Earring.
so it's not be erin, right? Because
Okay.
the N is not prominent, right? It's just
Okay. Earring.
yes, it's just sitting at the back there. Yeah, so that's just
Okay.
like a side note. Nasal
Okay.
vowels. Um, but the regular vowels are a, e, o, u. Can you try that?
A, E, O, U.
Yes. So u. The u kind of drops a
Ooh.
bit.
Ooh.
Yeah, I remember having to sing this. Yeah, when we were in school because
Oh,
I guess it's a bit melodious as well. So I'm
yeah,
sure the
no, fair
listeners
enough. I get
probably sing
that.
it. So it's the importance of the vowels is that they occur in every word in Yoruba. Every single word we have tried. We tried Igba, we tried Owo, we tried Owo, we tried Ogun, because it's the vowels that actually carry the sound. That's why they are the
Okay.
ones that also have the marks on them.
Okay.
So the consonants just leaning on whatever sound the vowel is having and then carries
Mm,
it. Right. That's why it sounds like when we are reading the alphabet, the entire consonants sound the same. Right. Because they just
okay.
lean in and take
Of
the sound.
course, of course, of course. Wow, that's really interesting, and that makes sense. I hope the listeners have, I'm sure the listeners have learned a lot. Um, I think this is definitely an episode to listen to multiple times just so that you can get the ideas that Sean kindly shared with us. Just get it into your heads, get the tones into your heads, get the vocab that we sort of gathered into your heads, the alphabets, the vowels, the nasal vowels, all of these things. Really important, really helpful. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, this platform is going to be a tool to help you in your Yoruba language learning journey. It is going to be, I mean, look, there's nothing God can't do, but it's going to be quite tough for you to learn the entire language just by listening to these episodes as they come out. But we hope that it's going to really, really help you. Sean, as he mentioned, does one on one tutoring. And I think it's super helpful, super important to actually carve out time in your week, carve out time in your day to really focus on Yoruba language learning if that's something that you are interested in and passionate about. So we will leave Sean's details. It will be in the description of this episode. Please do reach out. Please do get connected with him and have lessons. It's so important that we put effort into learning our languages. It is so important. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Shayon, do you have any words to pass on to the listeners at the end of this episode?
Yeah, that would be that practice. Practice is pretty important. So as you're learning these new words, like now you know the word for money and you get to use that every day. So just continue to try to infuse it in your conversations, maybe to a friend or somebody that you know that understands Yoruba, and gradually you just get there. So practice is pretty important.
Perfect. Well, you heard it here. You heard it here first. Okay, not first, but you sure heard it here. Um, how do I say see you at the next? See you next time. How do I say it in Yoruba so I can end my episode
Yeah.
correctly?
Normally, Odabo already fulfills that because it means
Okay,
till next time.
next time. Well, Odabo, everybody. Till, okay, I don't need to say till next time. I just said it. Sha, bye. Have a great day.
Yeah,
Bye, everyone.
Odabo.
Thank you.